happened then. I deserved it.
Killed the
In the digital age, notoriety can spread like wildfire, fueled by the allure of social media. But what happens when fame is tainted by darkness? This is the chilling tale of Wade Wilson, known to many as the TikTok famous killer. A man whose journey from a troubled childhood to brutal murders left a community shattered and a nation in shock. Wade Wilson was not always a name synonymous with fear. To those who knew him in his early years, he was simply another kid trying to navigate the trials of adolescence. But beneath the surface, darkness was brewing. Raised in the seamlessly idyllic suburbs of Tallahassee, Florida, Wade was adopted by Steve and Candace Wilson, a loving couple who gave him every opportunity for a bright future.
Now, were either of you in a position at that age to be able to raise him?
No, ma'am.
Was he placed up for adoption?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was he adopted by?
Candy and Steve Wilson.
But despite their best efforts, Wade's life was anything but ordinary. Classmates recall a young Wade as someone who was always on the fringes, pushing boundaries, testing limits, and gravitating towards trouble. Troubled was the word they used to describe him, and it would come to define his life. But what drives a young man with a seemingly normal upbringing to such extremes?
Becoming withdrawn, erratic, and depressed at first. Then, as addiction was added to mental illness, he became frankly paranoid and delusional, and the sense of loss became increasingly sharp. He was in the system for years trying to get help for his mental anguish and for his addiction. They put a tiny Band-Aid on it and then sent him back into the world.
Was it the company he kept, the rebellious streak that ran deep, or something far more sinister? As the years passed, Wade Wilson's behaviour became increasingly erratic, spiralling into a dangerous mix of substance abuse and violent tendencies. His former girlfriend, Kelly Matthews, would be the first to witness the monster lurking beneath the surface. He was charming at first, charismatic and smart, but it didn't take long for things to change. The drugs made him paranoid, violent. I saw it too late.
But yeah, eventually he stopped hiding the drugs and it got really bad. Like the paranoia was horrible and the aggressiveness.
Kelly's relationship with Wade began like any other, filled with the promises of love and companionship. But it quickly turned into a nightmare. A night of terror in 2019 would forever alter her life and foreshadow the horrors to come.
He told me to get back in the car and to buckle my seatbelt, so I did. And that's when he started strangling me. I almost blacked out twice. And when I read that that's how he killed those girls, I don't know why he didn't do it to me.
Wade's violent outburst nearly cost Kelly her life. Yet, when she sought justice, she was met with disbelief and disregard by the very system meant to protect her. The warning signs were there, but they were ignored, leading to tragic consequences.
Detective Potter told me that if I didn't leave him, Detective Potter, alone, that he was going to block my phone number. And I was like, you're supposed to be helping me. Did the DNA test come back? Whatever. He said, yeah, it came back. It's inconclusive. And then he closed the case. And then the next day he tried to get me on stalking charges against Wade.
The police failed me. And because of that, 2 innocent women lost their lives. October 2019. The city of Cape Coral, Florida would never be the same after Wade Wilson's rampage. In just a few short hours, 2 women, Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz, were brutally murdered. Their lives cut short by a man who'd lost all regard for humanity. The details of these murders are chilling. Wade Wilson met Christine Melton at a bar, and within hours she was dead, strangled by the man she thought she could trust.
Totality of the circumstances indicates the defendant, with premeditation, beat and strangled Christine Melton in her home before stealing her vehicle and driving to meet his girlfriend, Melissa Montanez.
Diane Ruiz, a mother of 2, was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time, offering directions to a man who had already decided her fate. But this was no crime of passion. The prosecution argued that Wade Wilson killed for the sake of killing, a chilling statement that left the courtroom in stunned silence.
He saw Diane Ruiz walking to work and pulled over, pretending to ask for directions. She got into the car to provide directions, but the defendant strangled her when she tried to exit. When she tried to flee from the car, he drove over her at least one time, inflicting mortal injuries to her spine, ribs, and neck.
Wade's confession was as cold as his actions. "I would do it again," he told detectives. For the families of Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz, justice came in the form of a guilty verdict. But the pain of their loss is a wound that will never fully heal. Wade Wilson now sits behind bars, awaiting his fate, either death or life in prison. But even in confinement, his descent into chaos continues, from attempted escapes to drug smuggling.
Tonight, Wilson, along with his cellmate Joseph Katz, are in even more trouble. Reports say they tried to smash through a window and break out of jail.
Wilson was accused of selling and smuggling meth in jail in April 2023.
His actions show a man who remains as dangerous as ever. As the legal battles rage on, the question remains: how did a boy from the suburbs, raised by loving parents, become one of Florida's most notorious killers? The answers may be complex, but the consequences are clear. 2 lives lost, countless others shattered. The story of Wade Wilson is a stark reminder that the monsters we fear often hide in plain sight. It's a story of missed opportunities, of a system that failed to protect the vulnerable and allowed a troubled young man to turn into a cold-blooded killer.
The system designed to help those who suffer and are lost failed him. That system is broken and would be only further broken if it took Wade's last breath. That broken system owes Christine, and it owes Diane, and it owes their families, and it owes our family.
As we remember the victims, Christine Melton and Diane Ruiz, we must also ask ourselves, how many more lives could have been saved if we listen to the warnings, if we take action before it's too late? If you found this video insightful, please like, comment and subscribe. Together we can shine a light on the dark corners of our society and ensure that these stories are never forgotten.